Hey everyone, welcome to Reading the Green and our golf DFS show. My name is Mike. Got Kyle and Jordan here on Tuesday, November 8th for what is our 2022 midterm election show. Hope you guys are excited for an hour and a half of straight politics.
Yeah, I mean, we have the TVs tuned in to Minnesota Wild hockey.
That's the only politics you care about?
Go green?
Don't care about any of the rest of it, that's for sure.
I don't really want to spend an hour and a half talking about that, but...
and I'm surprised you didn't lead with, we're all in the same room.
We are all in the same room. We're in a new studio.
Yeah.
New studio. The city studio, I think I called it last week.
Lots of... there's going to be some audio and certainly video issues as we get this figured out, but that's... we'll get there. I'm excited to be here sitting shoulder to shoulder, basically. Did you guys know that this is our 50th recorded episode?
I just saw that when I
Wow.
opened up the agenda just now.
Wait,
I did not.
There's an agenda every week?
There is an agenda every week.
Oh,
You don't
that's
have
cool.
to... 50 episodes. I could have made a mistake in counting. It feels like it's been about a year, like mid-November. I don't know that we actually released the first couple.
Sure.
But
yeah.
This is, according to the agenda, this is episode 50. So, Kyle, I will start with you. What have you learned after 50 episodes of podcasting?
There's a lot of good beer in this world.
Okay, it's pretty good. We've gone through a lot of it, which I think you texted. When we get into the soft part of the schedule here after the fall swing, after the RSM, Weird Beer Night will be back. And that was one of my favorite nights last year, so I'm excited. I got some teed up for it.
I know some listeners were excited for Weird Beer Night, so feel free to ship us some or drop off if you know where to drop off, and we'll maybe include it.
I think I still have one of those blueberry lagers.
I
in my
actually
fridge.
do have one in my fridge because I'm. Oh man, yeah. I think that'll have to be bookended by like an extra good beer cellar night or something because.
Yeah, well, that's a great night to have, especially during the Christmas, New Year's break time frame where week's a little softer. That's a good time to go cellar night.
All right. Well, Jordan, I'll ask you the same question. What have you learned after 50 episodes of podcasting?
That we do an agenda every week. That's news to me. That's great. I should start reading that.
As the de facto host here, how do you think it moves along? We probably would talk for 2 hours every time.
Yeah, I mean, that time when you were gone, Kyle and I just kept chatting. We had a great time.
All right. Well, according to the agenda, we're going to recap the Mayakoba and preview the Houston Open, and probably talk about, I don't know, maybe a few other things. But let's start with beer though, because I'm already getting a little dry. But this was Toppling Goliath's Radiant Haze. I think this is a really good sort of like second tier beer for them. Something they release once a year. Like, I'd love to see it more often, but pretty solid single IPA.
Yeah, I think I texted about it, Friday? I was gallivanting around the beer store, and I hadn't had it before you had, and I agree with the recommendation. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's very good.
Next on tap, we have extra juicy bits coming out of Weldwerks Brewing in Colorado. So getting away from the Minnesota brews. Mike, you said it's a little hot, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you'll probably hear a crack of the can here in a second of the microphone, but we're gonna open that up. With that, I'll start with the Mayakoba. This is in the long list of golf tournaments that I don't watch. So
I was gonna say, I hope you don't go to me next because I don't know who won. I know I got my entry in this week, so that was good, and then I think I got last.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to Listener League, but seriously, like this time of year, I don't know if it's football season. I don't know if it's just like back to school life kicking back in for the winter, whatever it is. But like, I am not watching golf on the weekends right
It's
now.
the freaking TV schedule.
That is a big part of it. I
1 to
actually
4 or 2 to 5 every day. Like, okay.
both weekend days, I think I was up working out in the morning and was like, just wanted to throw in early round coverage on Saturday morning and nothing.
Well, exactly. Even like Thursday and Friday morning, it was such a ritual for me last spring and summer. Turned on ESPN Plus, those East Coast tournaments. Coverage would start at 6:30 or 7 o'clock. Get ready for the day, start working, and just have it on in the background. You can't do that now. And then who's going to 2 to 5 Saturday and Sunday? There's football on. You're doing things outside.
And the leaders are off for an hour, right? So like you catch the leaders on like the 5th hole.
Yeah, it's just the coverage is ridiculous, and I
think,
went to try to watch multiple times, and then every time it's frustrating.
You would think that with all the live stuff, that the PGA Tour would have doubled down and said, "Okay, we got to get our stars on TV." But I don't know. It's like you're right. I don't even make an attempt to watch it because I don't know how.
And I'm sure there's some reason I don't fully understand, but I haven't seen a good analysis or breakdown from, we follow a lot of the golf industry people. You already have the camera crews there. You already have the cameras there. You're doing a broadcast for 3 hours. How much more expensive can it be to extend that coverage? You already have broadcast partners set up.
The announcers are there, but they're sitting in the hotel for 6 hours.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it is confusing. So if you didn't watch it, like most people, then you would need to know that Russell Henley won. Russell Henley won, and it wasn't even close. He had a 6-shot lead, I think, at some point on Sunday, and
So Russell Henley didn't implode is the headline.
The problem is Russell Henley is like our go-to round 3 showdown guy, the guy that's always got 63 in the bag. But usually only does it when he's already put himself in a hole on Thursday and Friday. And so I didn't have a lot of Russell Henley this week. I don't really like playing him all that much, and I especially don't like it when he then cruises to a 4-shot win. But here's the thing that I thought was really interesting. So he obviously was on fire. He actually opened with 2 63s and then a 65. And he ends up making 9 pars and a bogey in his last 10 holes to shoot a 70. On Sunday, still win by 4. From a DK perspective, that means that he didn't get the 4 rounds in the 60s bonus because he just put it in cruise control the rest of the tournament. Like that had to hurt somebody. That had to hurt somebody in a big contest.
Was he still the leading scorer, I presume?
I think so, but all I'm saying is that you don't get the extra points.
Sure.
The extra 3 or 5 points or whatever it is. So in those tight, big GPP contests, that makes a difference. But anyways, I don't know. I was checked out. I know Scotty Scheffler played well. Hoffman played reasonably well. Morikawa played reasonably well. I stayed away from everybody pretty much at the top of the salary range. And I don't know. I had a good week. I mean, mention share was pretty good for us, which is usually where I load up for cash games. But the rest of it was kind of meh.
Jordan, do you know who came in second in DK points last week? Golfer-wise.
Come on.
It's one of your dudes.
I don't know who got...
One of your dudes.
One of my dudes.
That you apparently did not play enough of. Brian Harmon was second in DK points.
I think you did say in last
Is it a Brian Harmon week?
I think it's a Brian Harmon week.
Whatever we say, accurate off the tee, second shot course,
Son of a gun.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about the listener league because it sounded like you brought up the rear. First of all, the hosts together have been mostly awful in the RTG league, which allows people like JY Sodi to be racking up fall season wins. And then Arano M2, another second place. I feel like this guy
He's been on a heater.
He's been on a heater, and then it's nice to see Book 0215 in third place. So I don't know. I'm happy that our listeners are getting a chance to go on a few runs here, but I'm pretty disappointed in the performance.
You know what? I'm going to do something different this week. Usually I build my listener league lineup last of all my builds. Mm-hmm. I do my 20 max to start. Then I hit my single entry GPPs, build out my cash lineups, and then go back to listener league. So by then, I'm usually a little loose maybe and pick someone like, hey, I kind of wanted this guy this week and I haven't played him yet. I'm going to put him in my listener league lineup. Not doing that this week. Going heavy with our key metrics and going listener league lineup first. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, and I thought I did really bad but I still beat Mike.
Okay, I want to tell you what my approach was last week because I thought
there's always a caveat to Mike sucking.
I thought this was really good. This is the first time I went this approach. I took the highest players in the power index that I could. I think I took like the 2 or 3 guys at the top of the power index, and I took the 2 or 3 guys at the bottom. And because statistically, those players typically outperform our model, and I think it's because the guys at the bottom of the power index are often the value plays. We talk about that, and I thought that was really sneaky, and it was going to be a slam dunk, and it was a slam dunk to the basement.
You know who was not a slam dunk last week, and we all played? Freaking Tommy Tables.
Tommy Trash Bag.
Tommy Trash Bag. He did miss the cut on the number, but that was only after going 65-73, I think. So that was unfortunate. I thought you were gonna say Keith Mitchell. That was
Keith Mitchell hurt me as well. That was an MPI play, not a mention share play. But
Hoagie was definitely a landmine, as was Adam Long. Besides those 2 guys, though, we had 85% of our sort of core player pool make the cut, and we talk about that. If you're going to be playing any sort of cash games, or even doing something in GPP in like a 20 max or a larger multiple entry contest, setting a really good floor for guys making the cut. So this was a really good week. I think that's why I did so well in cash this week, was because I loaded up on players that made the cut. And I didn't really have lineups that were outside of 5 players, 5 of 6, and that paid off. It wasn't as exciting from a ceiling standpoint, but pretty good week for the model.
Yeah,
Tommy Tables.
I always like when your cash lineups can pay for the fun stuff. That's what I like, the way I like to look at it.
All right. Well, Kyle, was there anything else on your betting card?
No, that been a little cold the last 2-3 weeks on the card. Hopefully we turn it around this week. Obviously last week I had Hoagie, Shelton, Lauer, Grillo. None of them really did much for me. Got a place bet on Joel Nauman, but need to turn it around.
What do you think of? Has anyone else poured this extra juicy bits yet?
It's hot, man.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever used the term for a beer that it needs to breathe, but this needs to breathe.
It's it's that hot burn, like you can just tell, like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense. I mean, I think
it's extra.
It is extra, not juicy. It is extra.
Extra bits.
It's extra bits.
It's the bits. All right, so let's turn our attention to the Houston Open. I don't even remember the name of the sponsor on this because it's no longer the Shell Houston Open.
It's some bank.
It is some bank.
Yeah.
So first of all, Jordan wants to comment on the Houston Astros winning the World Series. His favorite baseball team?
Wait, baseball? We're talking about. Why would we waste time talking about baseball? This is Kyle's special. Didn't we get into it once a long time ago on the pod about how boring baseball is?
I disagree with the boringness of baseball, but Houston Astros, I do not have much to add there.
Yes, I would prefer the Astros to win over Philadelphia, though.
Yeah.
I can't root for any Philadelphia teams ever. The fans suck.
I can see that.
There's just no.
And this is coming from a guy that lived in Philadelphia for a point in my life.
There's something about playoff baseball or World Series baseball that I've never experienced. Certainly being a Minnesota sports fan, that's what you get. Those crowds seem like it's like such a departure from what you get in a regular season baseball game. Nobody sits down. It's a super tense party for 3 hours. And I hope someday I get to go do it, even for a game that's not even my team.
Yeah, I tune into the World Series. Like this year, my team sucked. It's Cubs. So I watched the least amount of baseball this year as I probably ever have in my adult life. But I watched most of the World Series. Just to your point, there's just
different energy.
The gasping on every pitch.
You mean it has energy?
Yes.
Exciting baseball is still bad hockey, boring football. It's like soccer.
Don't even get me started
right?
on that. Yes.
Let's have baseball and soccer.
You
and
love
I like
soccer.
soccer, so this it's not a thrilling game. There's not it's not up and down the field.
Correct.
And I can't.
All right.
I can't with baseball.
So yes, the Houston Astros won the World Series. I take responsibility for that tangent. So we get to Houston Open at Memorial Park Golf Course in Houston, Texas. Do you guys know who won this tournament last year?
Yes.
Kyle. Who was it?
Jason Kokrak.
Jason Kokrak.
At 10 under par. The year previous was Carlos Ortiz at 13 under par.
Isn't it funny how those guys have like just totally evaporated from like I don't even like think about Jason Kokrak. I don't even think about any of the live guys anymore, but like just irrelevance.
Well, on that note,
this is a strong live turn. Like I looked up the year that
Koepka's played well here.
Carlos Ortiz won it. He was 1, DJ was 2, Gooch was 3, Gooch was 4, Koepka was 5.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, do you know who helped with the redesign?
I think it was Koepka, wasn't it?
Yeah, in 2018 was Brooks Koepka. He was an advisor on the redesign.
That's kind of funny. Like this tournament has such a connection to the Live Tour.
That's just funny. Paying Brooks Koepka to be advisor on a course redesign.
Yeah.
Let's have Dennis Rodman redesign the NBA rules.
That I did find that funny too. Like I understand once a guy's maybe on the Champions Tour, but like while they're still active golfer,
he doesn't also strike me as the guy that cares anything about getting into golf course architecture. That was purely so that Memorial Park could just put his name on the scorecard.
Yeah.
That just he probably was like, just move that bunker over there and we'll call it a day.
Speaking of golf course architecture, I'm sad to say we can officially announce Reading the Green did not win the Powerball. So the greens will have to wait at least another week before it opens. But keep an eye out for that in the future.
I did float the concept of the greens to my wife last night as we were preparing for our incoming fortune, and she was supportive. She thought that was a good endeavor.
Was she supportive of it being in rural Iowa? Or are we still workshopping?
I don't know that we were. I don't know that that's exactly what it's gonna be. But all right, come on, back to the Houston Open.
Wait, did you guys know that there's an agenda that we're supposed to?
Yeah, I'm trying to get through the rest of the stats. Slightly worse field than last week. Only get 9 of the top 50 players, but standard cut rules. This is the 12th hardest golf course on tour last year. So this actually is going. You said, Kyle, last year that Kokrak won at -10, so we've seen a bunch of birdie fests lately, and so we're going to get a little bit more of a challenge. It's a long par 70, 7,400-yard par 70, which means focus on strokes gained approach, and then focused on play around the greens because guys aren't going to be able to. They're not going to hit as many greens this week because the course is so tough.
So it's not a Brian Harmon course.
I don't even know if Brian Harmon's in the field. They don't like guys that short in the field.
On that note, Mike, yeah, for sure. They have the very shaved runoffs, so short game is huge here. And if you're putting inputs into a model, I'd really look strongly at bogey avoidance as opposed to, as you mentioned, all the birdie fests we've had previously.
This is the first in some of the content I've seen. This is the first tournament of the year where there could potentially be a weather advantage. I think there's some wind that is supposed to come in Friday afternoon that it is worth looking at. So obviously, like maybe in a bigger contest, if you're looking for an edge, the PM AM drop could be a better one. For what it's worth. Kyle, would you care to take a look at the model for us?
Yeah, I'll highlight the top 5 so far. We have dual guys leading the way that are a little higher up on the salary point. Aaron Wise, 53% mention share, and Tony Finau at 53% mention share. Wise is at 9,900. Tony Finau is at 10,400. Finau's a little stronger on the MPI at this point in time, but not surprised to see Wise there. I'm a little surprised with the amount of love on Tony this week, especially after showing last week. I thought he might be a kind of a sneaky GPP play, but apparently that's not coming to fruition. Next, we have Sam Burns it is a Bermuda Burns type golf course. 46%.
He's got it.
You gotta listen to. That's one of our contributors' pods. Come on, I'm playing to the audience there. 57 on the MPI. Next is Davis Thompson, 7,300 on the salary point and 38% mention share, along with Scotty Tuhati, 11.5, also 38% at this point in time.
So the thing that jumped out at me is you had 3 guys over 10K. And so there's going to be decisions. Obviously, we have a lot of content that has to come in, and so maybe we'll see that move around a bit. But seeing some chalk this week.
Expensive chalk.
Yeah, and I really have struggled, I guess, to figure out where I want to go so far. Aaron Wise is certainly going to be one of my plays as somebody who I'm on from a betting standpoint. But 9,900 and from a lineup construction and somebody that's probably going to carry quite a bit of ownership, I'm not sure what kind of lineup I want him in yet. It's definitely not my GPPs because I'm probably going to go up.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's hard to have in this field Aaron Wise be your anchor.
Correct.
Do you remember, Kyle, when you were breaking up with Aaron Wise several times this time last year?
Yeah, that was in the spring.
He
had a great fall swing.
Fall golfer.
We broke up for a while, but man, he can't stay away right now. He's been great. He's been hot, and he has came around, and his game suits this course pretty well. I mean, in his last, let's just run through his last little bit of showings here. He's 15th, 6th, 64th, 15th, 31st, 13th. And his last runs out.
Pretty high floor with those results.
So I think Wise is probably going to be part of my cash lineups. I don't think I'm going to get their GPP, but one guy I probably will sprinkle in my GPP lineups is Davis Thompson. 7,300, 38% mention share, as we said, but pretty low in the MPI. But we've mentioned this quite a bit this fall that Pat Mayo, who's one of our stronger contributors in the normal season, doesn't put out fall articles. At least he isn't this fall. He did last year, but not this year. But he does put out a newsletter, and Davis Thompson was one of the 3 golfers he highlighted. So I think I'm going to go there a bit. And then a guy I don't know how I can stay away from with how he's playing is Taylor Montgomery. 9,700, 30% mention share, 39 on the MPI, which is a little lower than we'd like to see. But again, that form, and that's something I think we can lean heavily on in the fall. He's been 10th, 13th, 15th, 9th, and 3rd his last 5 outings. That's just, crazy.
Why do you think that form, form in the fall seems to just be, just really kind of carry through more so than the rest of the season? Do you think it's because the fields aren't quite as strong and you don't have the majors kind of breaking up the schedule, and so you can get these guys that just sort of maybe play consistent competition for several weeks in a row? I don't think you really see this from guys like Taylor Montgomery come March.
Yeah, I think Montgomery's good, and he is a little bit of a different makeup than some of the other golfers we see pop. He's just been lights out with the putter. His strokes gained putting have been just ridiculous. So I think that helps him stay in it every week. He's long and accurate off the tee. So if there's a week he can get a couple approaches close, he's going to move up from 10th to top of the board. And to your question too, Mike, I think there is a bit about just courses being similar, and I think that is one little bit of risk this week with Montgomery. We are going to a little bit of a different course where we've had 3 of the last 4 events play at very similar tracks.
All right, well, I have some thoughts on that, but I want to give the microphone to Jordan and hear about his picks.
My picks, huh? I got the winners this week. I'm always a big Tony fan.
You are. You have. I think you basically you're gonna retire based with Tony Finau.
I'm in on Finau this week. Length. I think how many weeks has he taken off? He's well rested.
I have
Well,
not
he played
seen-
last week, but he only played 2 rounds.
Exactly. took a couple days off. No, so I'm starting with Finau. In cash, in our league,
Yeah.
I will have Aaron Wise also. Right, I've already built my lineup. I got both of them. Davis Thompson is looking pretty good, above that 30% mention share that we talk about. And then it gets a little scarier.
Yeah, because you got a lot more expensive guys.
Got a lot of money spent already, and I ended up with a bit of Ben Griffin and Austin Cook. They're kind of the top cheapos on our model this week.
I hope I'm not spoiling the name game because I know that was your responsibility this week. But you got to go with a guy named Austin in Texas, right? Where can you go wrong?
You are not spoiling that.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, that's good.
This thought had crossed my mind. I have a question. If you guys have like a bad day or two at work, would you like to then just be given 2 days off of work?
That's a great concept. Can we take that to
Yeah.
the working world?
Can
It's
I
like-
just like miss the cut at work sometimes and just...
I didn't nail that presentation today. I'm just going to need the next 2 days off. I'm sorry.
I like that. Like I agree. That hadn't crossed my mind, but that when you said
That would be great. But now we're gonna go down a total sidebar because last night my wife and I were talking about like, would you work 7 days on for 4 days off, or 3 days off? Like what is that threshold of days, or would you rather work 3 days on, 1 day off?
Yeah.
So,
Like firemen.
but like that, you wouldn't want that because you don't want 1 day weekends every
Yeah.
6 days. But like,
I don't know.
I would prefer that over the alternative.
would
10,
like five
10, 10, 4.
10-4.
I don't want.
It's
I wouldn't
hard.
want.
That's
10,
why 7-3 is kind of the. If we it's really like 7.5 3 because otherwise you'd end up with more weekends.
I mean,
but-
I'm gonna just add more weekends. Can I just go 4-3 at all times?
Exactly. Well, Kyle, I want to comment on some of the guys that you brought up because the pricing this week has got me a little mixed up because you're gonna have to make some choices at the top, and you have a lot of guys that feel like they shouldn't be this expensive in a fairly strong-ish field, like Taylor Montgomery at 9,700. I know he's been really good, but it's hard for me to still get there, and I almost would rather drop down and play someone like Taylor Pendrith, who is long and can play this golf course, certainly based on his length, at 8,500. Like I'm looking for areas where I can drop down a little bit, and so I think Pendrith is one guy that is high enough in the model, 8,500, 23% mention share, that I might look at to help with some relief. I think I want a Texan this week. I want someone comfortable in their surroundings, so I'm leaning on Sam Burns. Scotty Scheffler, way too expensive in this field for me at 11.5, but I'll take a little bit of relief with Sam Burns at 10.7. But I also get the Aaron Wise play as well. If I could fit him in somewhere and get the high floor, that makes sense to me. And then I'm wondering if right now, and I'm wondering how this sticks the rest of the week, Keith Mitchell at the top of our power index at top of power index, $8,100. Awful week last week. I'm wondering if I can get an ownership break on him in a bigger contest. So I got to see how the love comes in for him the rest of the next 24 hours.
Sounds good, Mike. Well, from a tiers perspective, we're going to go down to tier 3 this week because I think it's a really interesting conversation. You have Matt Neesmith, who has been playing some great golf, who is actually leading the way on mention share at this point, but pretty middling on the MPI. Jason Day, who's been playing well. Jason Day, 23% mention share, 52 on MPI, so hanging in there. personally, I don't know if I can get there.
I can't put Jason Day in a lineup probably for the next 25 years.
No, yeah.
Like, I don't think he's so fragile. I don't think I can trust him.
And then you have your guy, Denny McCarthy. He's a 9,200 salary price point. He's getting a little love on the mission share. We talked about putting. Obviously, he's a great putter. But, man, Denny McCarthy is another guy, especially, we're talking about tiers, but that price point, I love playing him when he's tier 6 or 7,000. I do not love playing him at 9,200.
Bermuda Specialist, though, I mean, that's worth something here. I don't know.
Then you have Emiliano Grillo. You have Sahith Thigala, Jordan's boy, who are really strong in the MPI, a little lower in the mission shares at this point in time. So Emiliano has made huge gains with the putter, and I think that's been contributing to his strong play lately. But he let some people down last week, so I think at 42nd, coming off of 45th, but he does have the 4th and 5th in the fall swing as well. So at this point in time, I think I'm leaving there just from a consistency standpoint because I think there's a lot of volatility elsewhere. But I certainly don't blame you if you go to Neesmith. I can't get to Day. I can't get to McCarthy.
All right. Good stuff. That is much of the preview for the Houston Open. So now we get to the extra fun stuff, the name game. Last week we had poolside cocktails in Mayakoba. Kazire ends up being the most refreshing, scoring 102.5 points for the week. After Kyle, I think you previewed him as being just downright awful the last 6 months.
He had been struggling. But he heard poolside cocktails and he showed up. Let's go.
That is exactly what happened. I thought I had the Lipsky. The Lipsky was up there early, and I was feeling good. But no, Kazire prevails. So, Jordan, you actually had the only pick that missed the cut, Ches Reavie. And so that allows you the opportunity to make the rules for this week.
I think this is the first one I've created. I don't usually get last place in these.
You don't.
Wait, I won. Hey.
Well, let's hear what you got.
Okay. It's the name game. So I have found there are at least three names that there are 3 of in the field this week.
Okay.
So we get our choice. Each person gets a choice. We're going to do a reverse snake draft of them. Ben's, Ryan's, and Taylor's.
Okay.
There are 3 of each. So we'll do each one in order alphabetically. So we'll start with Ben's.
So we each pick a Ben.
We each pick a Ben. We each pick a Taylor. Ryan, and we each pick a Taylor.
Okay. All right.
And this will have to be dollar value adjusted.
Okay, which you know that I know how to do.
No, we're redoing that.
It's really only because of Taylor Montgomery.
Because
everyone else is in the same $1,000 range, and
Okay.
Taylor Montgomery is way out there.
All right.
Okay. So wait, does the loser go first or winner?
We've been switching it up. I mean, I've been switching it up since I lose every week. So feel free to do whatever you want.
I think we should let Jordan go first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got to pick a Ben.
Yep. We'll do Ben's first. Ben Griffin, Ben Kern, Ben Martin, and Ben Taylor. I'm going Ben Griffin because it's the only one I've heard of.
And he is your pick.
And it's extra crazy because there's a Ben Taylor, and then we're picking Taylors also.
Is there 4 of every?
There's 4 Bens. No, there's only 4. There's no listener this week.
So sorry, listeners.
Yep.
You've already won enough beers off us at the RTG Open.
You can have whichever
so.
one of the Bens is remaining. You can have them times 3, and if you beat us,
then you're really doing well.
So wait, Kyle wants a mic. You're up.
All right. I will take the Brit Ben Taylor.
Oh, that's the only other Ben I knew. What are my other Bens?
Ben Kern and Ben Martin.
I think Ben
Martin is 6,400. Kern is 6,000.
Well, I guess I'll go Ben Martin.
Okay.
I don't even know who Ben Kern is. Isn't he a punter for like the For the Tennessee Titans or something?
Sounds like it. You're typing these out, Mike?
Yeah,
Thanks.
fine.
Put them in our agenda document.
You'll never see this. How do you even know that you actually win or lose every week?
Because you guys tell me when we're in the pod. All right, so now we're going to reverse it. Kyle, you get first choice, Mike second, and I'm third. And
Are you sure these people are in the field?
It's in our salary sheet.
Okay. All right.
We've got Ryan Armour at 6,600, Ryan Bream at 6,000, and Ryan Palmer at 6,900.
I'm going Palmer. Give me the Texan.
That's what I wanted. Is mine next?
Yep.
All right, I'll take Ryan Brem. I don't know if Armour's got the length for this course.
Okay, I will take Armour. All right, and then the last three, we've got Taylor Montgomery, Taylor Moore, and Taylor Pendrith.
The Taylors are much better than the
Way
Bens and the
better.
Rains.
Way better.
Again, we talked about like the Camerons too. Is like this just like Cameron and Taylor must have just been like the most popular names.
Is there a golfer named Cameron Taylor? Because there should be.
Oh wow! Did you see that highlight on the screen there?
A Zamboni getting towed by a Zamboni.
Real slow procession.
That signifies how the St. Louis Blues have been playing this year.
Yes.
Shout out to your swag buddy right there.
Oh yeah. All right, so I get to go first with Taylor's, and I am going Pendrith. I'm hoping for some salary boost here. So all this, Mike, you've got Montgomery or Moore, 9,700 or 8,000.
Yeah, I will go. I know Kyle's gonna fix this. You know what? I'm gonna take Taylor Montgomery.
I was hoping you would pass from the higher salary guy, but I'll take Taylor Moore. By the way, Taylor Montgomery's 20-1 this week. I really wanted to go there from a betting perspective.
If he was like 40 or 50.
Or even give me like 26 or 28.
Yeah.
20-1, it's just too short. But anyway.
Those extra $6.
Well, Kyle, with that, I mean, Jordan,
$600, Jordan.
thank you for a fun a fun name game. Kyle, do you have a card this week you want to highlight?
I do. Change it up a little bit. Mackenzie Hughes, 65-1. What I'm looking at there, he's 8th on strokes gained total in the full swing, 9th around the green, which are always areas he's been good at, but his strokes gained approach has taken a jump here in the fall swing. So hoping he can continue that. Matt Neesmith at 40, hoping to keep the form there. His 9th. Yeah, he's put up lately. And then we talked about Bermuda greens. The South African Burmeister, he's at 65-1. He is top 11 in 5 of the last 9 events on this type of green. And then lastly, I went 2 units this week on Aaron Wise. Just planting my flag there and not going 5 guys, just going for 10th strokes gained putting on these type of greens the last 2 years.
All right, he's your guy. I mean, and at this point, I don't think a breakup is. He can let you down several times before we see a breakup again.
I agree. We're back steady now.
All right. Well, that's good stuff. I have a comment here as we're still watching a lot of hockey, which reminds me of last winter. This is a lot of like pod recording and watching hockey.
Nope.
I don't know which network doing the broadcast, but like the one game I've watched this year, it's got the boards now have like, superimposed ads on TV, but not like some games last year where it was just like one ad on the glass above the goal, but the whole boards are like this dynamic advertisement.
Yes.
And then one of you texted about it.
Yes, and then they switch cameras, and that camera doesn't have that technology.
Yeah,
and now it's like it's the normal boards.
But there's like stuff like moving on the boards like while the play is happening. Like,
some ads it doesn't look too bad, but there's some it just looks.
Yeah. What is the world coming to?
Well,
good question.
Some of the hockey writers we like to follow, made the comment, at least it's not on the jerseys yet. And if you see guys that play in Europe or something, they show the jerseys after a goal, and the whole thing, they look like a NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I know, but like it's more of just like because when you said, is that like actually what the boards are like? Are they a screen? And it's like it looks pretty legit.
It does. I thought they had installed full screen.
The way that it like curves around.
Isn't at Excel Energy, they've got a couple spots where it's actually digital, right?
They had,
in the board. It's like smaller
Yep.
sections that they can change out. But like that would be very aggressive for the
No, it would,
entire.
it obviously.
But like they do that at soccer.
Do
right?
they really?
Like the whole sideline that the
It's
TV
just
is
a
pointed towards is
screen.
just a giant screen.
Yeah.
just a
Like-
green screen, and they
No, it's like it's not soccer field thing. Isn't it an actual screen?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the boards though is just monetization, man. This is just how the world works, and that's an entirely different topic for an entirely different series of podcasts. But
We can go on a lot of tangents right now. Jordan brought up soccer. We got World
we
Cup
could.
in 13
World Cup.
days. Yeah.
We're going into World Cup next week. Put that on the agenda.
You got it. Maybe after the RSM, we'll get into soccer. But so before we go down any other tangents, I am just going to close it out and say, best of luck with the Houston Open this week. You can find our content on our YouTube channel, Reading the Green, our Twitter feed at RTG Podcast DFS, and any major podcast platform. We don't have many events left in the fall swing, so we have the Houston Open, so we'll be back in a week to talk about that, plus the RSM Classic. And then I think it's just fun stuff the rest of the way. So looking forward to another good week. See ya.